Hello, my name is Amy C. Willis. I'm a sobriety and mindset coach, and I'm also a certified EFT tapping practitioner. So I am very excited to be here with you today, and today I'm coming to you with a global tapping script on shame. So I know that shame is a deeply intense, often very heavy, very dark emotional experience that we have. And sometimes, and I speak from personal experience here, when we are in that place of shame, it feels like we are in the deepest, darkest hole that we will never get out of. Feeling shame is probably one of the worst, in my experience, again, feelings that I have experienced. And I have found that tapping is very, very helpful to not only acknowledge, but also release and heal some of the feelings of shame that we often find ourselves in. So, obviously our shame and our experiences with shame are deeply, deeply personal and connected to things that we've done or things that we've said. And so this again is a global script. So it's going to be a bit more general, but as with, any global script like this one, I encourage you to sub in your own language. If I say something and you want to emphasize something that I've said or add more language to it or use different words, I invite you to do so. The more specific you can make it for yourself, the better, the more impactful and effective this practice is going to be for you. So if you're not sure what tapping even is, go back a few videos to one that I did called What the Heck is EFT? And that will be a great starting point for you. It's an overview of what this practice is, as well as the tapping points. And then come on back to this video and we can go through this together. So basically what's gonna happen is I am going to say things out loud. You are going to repeat them as we tap along the points together. So basically, I'm tapping, you tap as I am, and repeat after me. So before we get into this, and feel free to pause the video, I want you to really tune in to the last time you maybe experienced shame, or maybe when your shame gets triggered around something in particular, the last time you really experienced that. I want you to just go back to that moment and really step into your body, step into feeling that emotion and really get to that place and think about how you felt, the circumstances surrounding it, what it felt like to be in that shame place, and really tune into that. So if you need to pause the video to go there, go there. And then when you're ready, come back. So when you're back and you're ready, I want you to rate the intensity of your feelings. So in tapping, we use something called a distress scale. It's 0 to 10, 10 being the most distressed you've ever felt. So how intensely you're feeling your shame. And 0 is not at all, very calm, very relaxed. So I want you to situate yourself on that scale once you've tapped into those feelings of shame. And if you need to, write it down so that you remember. Believe it or not, sometimes people experience such massive shifts with tapping that they almost can't even remember what it was like to experience the feeling so intensely. So we want to document that. We want to capture where you were beforehand. So write that number down, and then when you're ready, we are going to get into it. So we'll start at the karate chop point. Repeat after me, follow along as I tap. Even though I feel deep shame right now, I deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I feel deep shame right now, I deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. Even though I feel deep shame right now, I deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. The weight of my shame feels like it's crushing me. My shame feels all-consuming. I feel so much shame about what I did. I feel so much shame about how I acted. I feel so much shame about what I said. I don't feel like I can tell anybody about it because they would judge me harshly. And they will know the truth about me, which is that I'm a fuck up. That I don't have everything as together as it seems. That I am a deeply flawed, damaged, and broken person. I can't bear to think about what others will think of me. I feel so alone in my shame. I feel so guilty for what I've done. I feel so embarrassed, beyond embarrassed, about what I've done. And I don't know how to make myself feel better. I feel like a terrible person. I am a terrible person. I judge myself harshly for what's happened. I feel miserable right now. It's all way too much for me. I feel like I am about to explode. I can't escape this feeling. When I think about what I did, I feel worse and worse about myself. I don't know how to forgive myself. I'm not even worthy of forgiveness. I've slipped into a full-blown shame spiral, and I can't get out of it. I feel like I am in the deepest, darkest hole, and there's no way out. I can't find the light. And I'm deeply ashamed of myself. So let's just pause here for a second. Feel free to close your eyes if you want to take an extended pause. You can pause this video. So close your eyes, a few deep inhales and a few deep exhales. And I want you to really just tune in to how you're feeling. If you are noticing any sensations in your body, any words or thoughts popping into your mind, feel free to breathe deeply and just notice. There's no need to judge what might be coming up for you. Just be curious about it. Just observe. It's okay. So if you'd like a little bit more time to just breathe and reflect, please take it. Otherwise, we'll move on to the positive tapping round. But before we do that, again, I want you to check in on that distress scale. So it's important to note that after the first round, the negative round, where you're actually saying all the shit that you're carrying in your body and that you're feeling, basically you're stirring the pot a little bit emotionally for yourself. So it's totally regular or normal for your number to potentially have gone up on the scale. So maybe you were at an 8 and now after saying all that stuff, you feel like you're at a 9. That's okay. If it stayed the same, if it went down a little bit, it's all good. There are no wrong answers here. But check in. So check in with yourself and see how you're feeling now. So whatever your number is on that 0 to 10 distress scale, take note of it. And we're going to get into the positive round. So we'll start again on the karate chop point. Even though I feel deep shame right now, I deeply love, forgive, and accept myself. I acknowledge that I'm in a shameful place right now, and I honor that feeling. Defaulting to shame is second nature to me, but I am ready to shift that now. I am ready to have a new experience when it comes to shame. Sometimes I can't help but experience shame. But I recognize now that shame doesn't really serve me. Shame keeps me stuck in the darkness, ruminating on what I did. My shame convinces me that I am a terrible person, rather than a good person who made a mistake. Mistakes are a normal part of the human experience, and I give myself permission to make them. I also give myself permission to skip the shame the next time a mistake happens. When I'm in a place of shame, I'm not motivated to grow or learn through my experience. When I'm in a place of shame, I mentally and emotionally beat myself up until I'm exhausted. Sometimes my shame even leads me to engage in more destructive behaviors and mistakes. And I know now that that is not helping me. I recognize that I sometimes default to a place of shame, but it's not serving me. And I'm ready to let it go now. The next time I make a mistake or slip up, instead of reverting to shame, I will reflect on what happened to see if I can find the lesson. And I will commit to doing it differently next time. I will recognize that I am not my mistakes. I will recognize that I am not a bad person, even if what I did wasn't great. If I slip into feelings of shame, I will shine light on them by sharing with others what I'm going through, so that I don't have to carry the weight of it alone. I am not a flawed or broken person. I am a human being having a human experience. And I acknowledge myself, and I acknowledge that I'm doing the best that I can. The weight of my shame no longer feels heavy. And so it is. So again, we'll pause here. Feel free to close your eyes, take a few deep inhales and a few deep exhales. And again, just check in. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what may or may not be moving around in your body. Any sensations that have come up, thoughts, feelings, emotions. And I would encourage you to, again, check in on that scale. Notice if anything has shifted for you, if you've had any movement in your number. So if you are noticing that your number is starting to go down, so maybe you started at a 7 or an 8, and now you're feeling maybe like a 5 or a 6, I would invite you to keep repeating the positive round, so the second round that we just did, until you're able to get yourself into the 1 or 2 range. Ideally, the more you do it, the further down the scale you will move closer to 0. And I invite you to keep tapping until you get yourself there, because it's totally possible. And if your number hasn't changed, or if it's gone up even, I would invite you to do the whole thing again. So checking in on the scale again, between tapping rounds and checking in to see how you're feeling and where shifts might be occurring. And ideally, you're going to be moving down the scale. So that is my offering on tapping for feelings of shame. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you find value in it. And I invite you to share this with other people who might benefit from it, right? Shame is something that we've all felt and will likely feel again in the future. So even if it doesn't feel especially relevant or necessary for you right now, I invite you to save this and come back to it should you be experiencing feelings of shame in the future. So thank you again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. There will be more content coming. So stay tuned. And again, feel free to share if it feels good for you. So thank you again. Take care and be well.